My name is Robyn and welcome to my Stitchin Pink knitting podcast. If you're new, which is probably everybody, I'm so happy to have you here. I actually started this podcast a little over a year ago, and it used to be called My Pink Knitter. And I've changed the name and to my actual name of my that I'm known for on Instagram, and everything else is just Stitchin Pink and Ravelry and everything else. So I'm excited to start over. The last episode I did was a year ago, and a lot has happened in that year with my knitting world and just all of the different things that I've learned over the years. So I'm just jumping right in with both feet, and I'm just starting from scratch. It's not going to be perfect, but I am so happy to have you here, and I am so excited to share one of the crafts that I love. So this podcast will be about knitting, fiber art, maybe a little crochet, and a little bit of sewing. And I'm also a paper crafter. I probably won't have that in this video. That'll be on my other YouTube channel, which is Robyn Stamps. If you're curious, I have been on YouTube for 12 years with my paper crafting and my teaching and all of that. But I am new to the knitting world. I have been knitting for since this past August. It will be a year, so it's been about a year and a half. So this coming up August, it'll be 2 years since I started knitting, and I'll answer your question right out the gate. I did not knit this sweater, although maybe someday I could knit something like this. I am actually working on my first sweater right now. I'll have to bring it over. It's on the other side of the room. I left it across the room. I thought I'd had everything ready for this this video, this episode. And I know some of you that have been following me and watching have been asking when I'm posting my next podcast, because it's been so long. I just feel like I kind of needed this year to just learn new things, just practice my knitting and my love of it. And I love having a hobby that I can do when I'm traveling, that I can do when we're driving, going on a plane, sitting at my children's sports. I absolutely love it. I'm going to introduce myself because some of you might not know anything about me. So my name is Robyn, and I live in Utah. It's actually a really beautiful day today. We never know at the end of February, March what to expect in Utah. I've lived here for 5 years, almost 5 years. And before that, we lived in Oklahoma for 10 years. Love Oklahoma. I actually claim that as my home. Before Oklahoma, we lived in Florida for 2. Before Florida, Kentucky for 4. Met my husband in Utah. I lived here for 2 years. And I'm actually from California. So long story longer, I grew up in California and Washington State. I have 5 children. I'm married to Brian for 22 years. This summer will be 23 years, I think. No, wait, how old's my oldest daughter? Yeah, she'll be 20. Yeah, I'll be 23 years this June. I have 5 children. My oldest daughter is 20, and she is married. They were married at the end of December. My kids some of them just got home. My son was taking the ACT today. My oldest, so they live about 15 minutes from us. My second daughter is 18, and she is going to college. She's going to Southern University, Southern SUU, Southern Utah University. So she's there. She's about 3 hours from our house. And my oldest son, so I have 5 children. My oldest son, Andrew, and my 18-year-old's Maddie. Andrew, just ignore Bella down there. I'll try to get through this if I can. This will not be a long episode for my first one since I've been back. I'm going to try to keep them all under an hour if possible, or less. All right, my oldest son is 16. He is a junior in high school. My middle son is 14. He is in 8th grade. And then I have a 12-year-old. My baby is in 6th grade. His name is Braden. Braden, Thomas, Andrew, Maddie, Caitlin. Okay, now you know everything about me, more than you probably ever wanted to know. So we'll jump in. I'm going to tell you really quick my knitting story. Like I said, I've been knitting for about a year and a half. My sister, Christy, was getting ready to go on a knitting tour in Ireland, and her friend backed out the last minute. And she would have been fine going alone, but I offered, I said, well, I'll go with you to Ireland. I don't know how to knit. But I decided that if I was going to Ireland on this knitting tour that I was going to learn to knit. So I watched YouTube videos, and it was kind of really hard for me to learn. I mean, it's not easy, but I kept at it, and I was knitting hats. So in Ireland, I knit a couple hats during those 10 days, and I learned how to make a sock on my way home. So I started my first sock on the way home, and then I kind of put the socks off to the side a little bit and worked on other things. But I am learning all sorts of new things. Since then, I make socks, shawls. I'm working on 2 sweaters, but I think I'm going to rip one of them out completely. We'll talk about that in just a second. Post in the comments below. Give me what do you guys think? If I should or if I shouldn't, and just be honest with me, because I mean, I'm putting so much time and money into this that I want it to be right, and so I might just do a different pattern or something. So I'll talk about that in a minute. I do have a giveaway for my first podcast. I'm also Stitchin Pink. I do make handmade project bags on Etsy. They're gone really pretty quick. I only do updates maybe a couple times a month maximum. And I'm not sure when my next update is. I don't even know when this will post, but just can check it out if you'd like to, if you're interested. All the bags that I'm showing you today, I've made, and I will have similar ones in my shop if you're interested. Okay, so let's start with my works in progress. And I'm going to start with my very first sweater. This isn't the sweater that I'm excited. I mean, I love this sweater. It's really beautiful. This is not, this is the one that I might rip out. So you'll have to let me know what your thoughts are on that, because I know some of you you're going to be like, Robyn, you're so far. Don't rip it out. So I'm going to pull this out, and you're going to like, it's pretty far along, you guys. Okay. This is I did the Tin Can Knits Flax sweater. I mean, here's my problem. So I'm almost in with the body. I have a little bit more, and then I'm going to add the ribbing. I don't know. I mean, I love it. I just don't know if it's going to fit, even if I block it. And I'd have to really aggressively block it. I don't know. I almost started ripping it out last night. And the yarn is from my sister at Yarn Cafe Creations. And I'm using DK weight. The actual kids, I'm editing that part out. Okay. The actual pattern calls for, I believe it's Aran weight, which is probably twice this DK, but I thought, oh, I'm going to use DK weight. What I was thinking is I would rip this out and then just do a different pattern that called for DK weight, because I do have enough yarn. This is a bag that I had sewn just over the summer last year. These are not one, I don't sell bags like this. This is just a big fun bag that I was making. But anyway, I don't know if it'll fit. Do you guys think? So I like to wear things big. I usually buy things like in size large, and I recently have lost a little bit of weight, and so I thought, well, I'll just make that ML. It's the medium large, and it's supposed to have a little bit of positive ease on it. What do you guys think? I mean, it's just really pretty. It's so pretty. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm glad I didn't rip it out last night. I almost ripped it out. I was in that mode. I was going through some of my works in progress, and I ripped out a pair of socks because since I've been knitting, my gauge is a lot looser than it was when I first started, and I was very tight, like, oh my goodness, you know, like, I'm gonna drop a stitch. But now I'm a lot just like, I hold my yarn different. I'm a continental picker. That sounds so weird. I was a continental thrower, and I sometimes throw. If I'm doing a lot of purls, I still throw. But anyway, this one, I don't know. I mean, the needle size was fine. I think maybe I'll just finish it out. And if you guys have any tips for picking up the sleeves and then making sure there's no holes on the bottom, because I am working on another sweater I'll show you guys in a minute. And I have a couple big holes, and I've watched some tutorials, and I just, so I'm working on the one that I need help with, so the flax sweater and the turtle dove. If you guys know of any YouTube videos, please share them with me below. I've searched it in YouTube. I can't find specific. That would be really nice. So yeah, this is my first sweater. If there are any of you, I know there's a lot of knitters that have done socks, have done shawls, have done, you know, hats. And I was so nervous to start my first sweater. I started this actually, my daughter got married December 29th. I think I started this the Christmas Eve or the day after Christmas, because I just, you know, when you have so much going on in your life, that's why I really like knitting, because it was just mindless. I didn't have to think about it. And this sweater was really, really easy. The part that I didn't understand, this is a top-down sweater. And it really is pretty, you guys. It's really pretty. And I didn't alternate skeins. I'm sorry. I didn't know how. I do know now. What was my question? Oh, the part that I was confused about was the sleeves, but now that I've watched this wonderful tutorial, I will link it below. She walks you through making the flax sweater, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry by Tin Can Knits. She walks you through, it's like a 4 or 5 part video tutorial series, and I watched the whole thing from the top. But once I got to the stockinette part, I don't really need to watch it anymore, and I know how to do the bottom part, and I'll watch it again for the sleeves, because I think she'll be pretty good about this one. It's a very great, wonderful video. So I will link that below in the description. So anyway, this is my first sweater. I don't know, maybe I'll just have to, this is a sweater, and it's just a little bit a selfish knit for myself. I'm not ready to give a sweater away to someone yet. I mean, I think when I start to have grandbabies, I'll make them cute little sweaters. I'll be a much quicker knitter by then. Okay, so there's my one work in progress, and I have a cute little penguin. I didn't share with you guys what I'm using. A penguin stitch marker, and this is from Tudor LLC. She has wonderful stitch markers. I love them. I have quite a bit of them. All right, my next work in progress, and this is stored in one of my cork bottom bags. These actually sell the quickest in my Etsy shop. They turn into a yarn bowl, which is pretty fun, and then they're just these. They turn into just a drawstring bag with a pocket in there, and then a little D-ring. You can clip things in, but when I'm at home, I just keep them in the yarn bowl, so I can have. I'm using the mohair. So let me tell you what I'm using first of all. This is mohair. I don't know where my bands are. They must be in the other room. This is from Felici Yarns, and I love watching their podcast, Chelsea Pearls. Probably one of my top favorite knitting podcasts. So if you haven't checked, it's Christina and Miriam. If you haven't checked them out yet, I love them. I watch all of them. And then this yarn here, this is a 1-ply, and I really love the 1-ply. It's beautiful. It feels like, just feels like silk. It's wonderful. And that is from Marianated Yarns. So I am working on, and I must have left this in my yarn room. I'm actually in, you probably can see that, just ignore the paper crafting for this video. But this is where I film all of my other YouTube video tutorials. I have close to 700 on my other channel for what I do full-time. It's my full-time work. And so I thought the lighting would be better in here. I tried to film in where I have my yarn stored and stuff. It's actually my daughter that got married. It's her old bedroom. None of the boys wanted it, so they were happy with where they were sleeping. And so I thought, oh, I'll just put my yarn in there and call it my yarn room. But the lighting's not very good, and I didn't want to bring all the studio lighting in there, so just enjoy my background. It's not all yarny. Okay, this is beautiful. Well, not because I made it, it's just a really beautiful pattern. This is the Light as a Feather shawl by Andrea Mowry. I think she's Drury Knits. And I'm using, like I said, this beautiful mohair. I just don't even know if you can see how beautiful it is. And then this, there's a lace portion. This is a paid for pattern. You can get it on Ravelry. And this is, I'm getting to the point now where it's not as mindless. Well, it is mindless knitting, but, and I know the pattern, it's pretty simple, but I have to be dedicated to that row. So if I know I'm like waiting for my child in a car, or I'm at an appointment where they can call me at any time, this is not something I will take at this point, because I don't want to stop in the middle of the row with mohair. I just don't. Okay. And I really love that. I can't wait. By the time I'm done with this, because I was working so fast on it, and I'm like, squirrel, 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 I start working on different things. And that's why socks are really good for me, because I can have something else to do that's quicker gratification. But this is gorgeous, so I'll probably be wearing that in the spring, hopefully. All right, what's next? What's in there? Okay, my work's in progress. What else am I working on? There's one, my socks. Okay, these are the socks I'm working on today, and they're stored in my medium Robyn bag. This is one of the medium project bags that are in my Etsy shop. And these are, they're just perfect for, I have a pair, I'm working on socks in them right now, but there is quite a bit of room in here. So this is good for, this is the same size for this one. It's the medium project bag. It's good for a medium large shawl, or a lightweight sweater, tank top, garment, toques, anything like that. And I just love this one. I call it the Robyn because I'm known in my other industry, my pink is in my brand name, so it's my pink stamper. And so I'm Stitchin pink. I love pink. Everything's pink, so you can't really tell. Well, you might be able to. This is not red. I think it comes across as red, but it's really a mambo-ish kind of pink. Also, I forgot to tell you where to find me, because I am so new at this. I'm starting all over again. I am Stitchin Pink on Instagram for the yarn, sewing, anything like that. And I'm if you're interested in my daily life and it has a little bit of my knitting as well as my kids, my chickens, my tennis, my paper crafting. That's Robyn Stamps on Instagram. And I'm on both equally, but I'm trying to post most of my knitting stuff a little bit separate from that, so I can just kind of keep it all in one place. And it's fun to look back and see all of these. I mean, I've only been doing my new Instagram for maybe like 3 weeks, so it's pretty new. Anyway, but I'm working on this sock. I actually started this, I cast it on, I think Sunday. Wait, what day is today? I finished my other pair of socks on Sunday, I think, right? I think I cast this on Sunday night, right? And then yesterday I worked on it on my breaks at work. I work from home. I work in this room. This is my work. Crafting is my life. I'm very, that's the industry I'm in, is creative. I'm a creative, I'm a maker. And that's probably why I like all of these types of things. I love to sew. I love to learn new techniques. This sock here, oh, my lighting just switched. That's nice. It's trying to adjust. This is, so the yarn is from Noble Character Crafts. And do I have the yarn band in here? I do. Okay, Noble Character Crafts. Ooh, I see a hair on me. Or a mohair. And the colorway is Healing. So this was actually, and I'm not sure if she still has it in her shop on Etsy. This pattern that I'm using is the Katie sock by Kay at the Crazy Sock Lady. So this was, I bought it as a set, where, well, I mean, I don't know if I bought them. I might have bought them separately. I don't remember. This was for breast cancer, right? Breast cancer charity fundraiser. Can't think of the name right now, but this is the Katie sock. It's knitting up so fast. So I have literally done this in like a day. And I'm normally not this, especially because I do have to run a, ooh, hello, I'm at the puppet stage. That means I got a lot done. Woohoo! Okay. And my podcast is usually going to be by myself. I was looking for someone to do it with. None of my friends around here knit or anything like that. Maybe eventually. And when Carly comes to visit, she's my best friend. You'll hear the name Carly a lot. She'll do it with me, and you'll see her. So my best friend Carly, I told her well, not I told her she had to, but I was knitting, so I kind of encouraged her to start to knit, and she has, and she is working on her first pair of socks right now. She's about to finish her second. She's halfway through her second sock. So I'm so proud of her. She's made a shawl. We worked on a shawl. I'll share it on the next video for a finished object. I didn't want this, my first episode, to be so long. So, but she did that one with me. She makes hats, dishcloths, so anyone can knit, you guys. And it might be a little finicky and tricky, and you might have to watch a video where they're holding it a little bit different, because I know I did that. And since I have crocheted, growing up we crocheted. I crocheted my mom a queen blanket. It's on her bed, and this was years ago. This was when I was like 20 years old, and I can do the basic crochet, and that's about it. I think I crocheted my grandmother a blanket, and then I didn't really do anything for years and years. So I do have that where I feel comfortable holding yarn in my left hand, because with crochet you hold it in your left hand, and I kind of actually hold it the same as if I crocheted. But anyway, so Carly was a crocheter, and she picked it up fairly quickly. So this is just gorgeous, and this cute stitch marker is also from Tudor LLC. Oops, it's a little sheep, but it's a pink sheep, and I thought that would be perfect. Let me tell you what I'm using, because I think when I did my first podcast last year, I didn't really share a lot of that. I just kind of quickly ran through it. And now when I'm watching podcasts, I'm so interested in what they're using and what they're doing. I'm not going to share the pattern with you because it's a paid for pattern and you can find it on Ravelry. But I loved working this pattern out. I'm using signature needles. These were a gift from my sister. I have a pair of signatures, 2 pairs of signatures, but they're size 2, because when I first learned to knit, I was such a tight knitter. I was like this. Didn't want to drop a stitch. Don't drop a stitch. It's the end of the world. You drop a stitch and it all comes out. And it's a little scary now. I dropped a stitch on this yesterday, and I about freaked out because it was during a pattern section, and I got it. I fixed it, but it was like so stressful. But I'm a much looser knitter now. And so these are size 1, long story short. And my cast on is 64. But I actually am realizing that this is still kind of loose, so if I want a tighter fabric, I did order some Knit Pro Zings in size 1 or 0. I'm gonna try a size 0. I know, I'm crazy. And some of you use size 0 and you think she's not crazy, but it's fun to have all yarn comes in different weight. Even if it says it's like the same weight as something else, you might just feel it. And that's a good thing to learn, is to kind of feel it out and feel like, oh, this is definitely, maybe I'm going to use my 2s for this, or maybe I should use the 0s because it's very fine. But this yarn was beautiful. Okay, I'm not going to take up all of your time today. Okay, I have to show something really quick that I made last night. So I had some leftover fabric. This was from my last shop update. I made some of the Robyn bags, and I had some random pieces of fabric left over, and I really like to sew. So I made myself one of my cork bottom bags. So you saw my other cork bottom, and I love this. So this is just a little bag that fits DP ends. I actually have another little bag in it right now. This is a little bag from, let's see where this little bag's from Laughing Stitches by Nancy Landers. So it's Laughing Stitches NL, and I love her bags too. And I wanted to make just a little bit bigger one that coordinated with my other bag. So I'm going to have this in here, and I can have just my patterns in here. I can have anything that I want while I'm working on that project. So today, I'm so sorry about Bella if you can hear her. My son has a friend over, and they're back inside. They keep going in. So it's a beautiful day here in Utah, and so they're 16. So they're outside jumping on the trampoline. So it's really fun. I encourage that. Okay, hopefully we don't hear Bella much longer. Okay, I'm almost finished actually. But today I went to a knitting group. I found a local knitting group. I'm so excited. The closest one that I knew of before was it was about an hour away, and it was at nighttime, and just with driving. So I live about an hour south of Salt Lake City, and I did not want to drive to Salt Lake City. I would have totally, but I didn't join that one because I wanted to find a close one. And so a year later, I found out that my local yarn shop, it's only about 12 minutes from my house, 10 or 12 minutes. I didn't even know that about this yarn shop. I found out about it. Super cute. It's called Harmony, and they carry fabric, yarn, cute little things, and I barely have got to have the chance to explore it, so I cannot wait. So I went to my first knitting group last month, and it was a nighttime group, and then they have a daytime group. They had one, just a random daytime knitting group. She posted it about an hour before, and so I took a little break from my work and I went over and met some new knitters that live pretty close, so it's really fun. Okay, so what am I doing? Okay, so, oh, I wanted to show you. This is a little tiny bag. It's like this one. So right now, isn't it the same size? Oh, I made it a little bit longer. Nice. So this is a knit. These are my kitties that have the yarn. This is actually a giveaway on my Stitchin pink right now. So if you're new, you will have a couple more days to enter to win. You just have to follow my Stitchin pink Instagram and leave a comment on this post. So look for this post. And I might give away another bag later on that. Okay, in this bag, this is what, so I actually started this one. I don't remember why. Oh, I dropped a stitch and I pulled it all out because I just finished the cuff. So this is, it's just going to be a vanilla sock, but the yarn is so gorgeous. Let me put this together for you guys. Look at this yarn together. So this yarn is from Shoppe Yarns. It is my friend Deborah, and it is called, it's her peppermint liquid candy. She had it for the holidays, and I got one. Look at how beautiful that's going to be. Do you guys see that? It's just so gorgeous. I can't wait to see what this is going to knit up like. I took a break from socks for a bit, and I think as a knitter you might be in phases where I feel like right now all I want to do is knit socks because I've gotten so much faster. I finished a pair, I'm going to share it with you guys. I finished a pair in like a week, which is my fastest ever. And so then I cast on another 2 socks, 2 different ones. So this will be one that, this is just going to be a vanilla sock. So I'm gonna actually, I think I'm going to keep it in my car. There's been so many times where I'm like in my car and I'm like, why did I not have anything to work with while I'm waiting? I'm wasting time. I don't want to just sit on my phone. What I do when I'm in my car is I'll put on like a knitting podcast and I'll knit in my car while I'm waiting for my kids. Okay. This is one of my upcoming projects in here. This is I just was goofing around. So this is a pocket. I was just goofing around on Sunday night because my next sweater that I'm casting, I'm going to Canada. I'm so excited. I'm going to Canada to visit my friend Allison in March. And it's for a paper crafting retreat. But it's also, she's going to take me to all of her local yarn stores and her quilt shops. I'm so excited. So I want to cast on this sweater because this sweater looks pretty simple. I mean, I haven't finished the sweater yet, so I can't say that. And some of you might have already made this, and it's probably going to be backwards because I have my thing backwards, but it's The Weekender by Andrea Mowry. And I know some of my favorite podcasters have made this, and even some that are newer have made this, and they love it. So I'm really excited. I'm using the Shelter. You look at this bag. This is amazing. And I know some of you, I did post this on my Instagram, and some of my customers have asked that I do make these. These take so long to make a bag this size, you guys. I mean, it's just because I have the cork bottom. It's like a different material. But this I made for myself, so I can share it with you guys. I did do 2 pockets. So instead of doing 1 large, I did 2 medium pockets, so I can have like my notions and everything else that I want to put in there. Some chapstick or pink lipstick, because I like to wear pink lipstick. But this is the Shelter by Brooklynn Tweed. I haven't tried it yet, but this is what she recommends and she uses in her pattern. This is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. If you want to make it with me, that would be awesome. And then we can all talk about it. I do have a Ravelry group. Haven't really done much on there. And I'll probably get better at that. And so anyway, this is just, I'm so excited to start that. So I wanted to have a bag to take to her retreat in Canada that I can just have sitting next to me in between when I'm working on paper crafts, and I can just, you know, work on a row of my sweater, which is going to be really fun. Okay, so I will show you at the very end the other sweater that I'm working on. But I thought it'd be fun, since I'm just starting this up again, and I'm still so new at this, and I am so grateful for those that are subscribing to this channel and for giving me a chance and a shot at this. I've been in the paper crafting world for so long, and I'm just starting to be in the knitting world, and I love it. They're totally different things and different communities, and I love them both so very much. So I'm going to give away one of my bags. This is the Carly. So this is my best friend. I named a bag after my best friend Carly. And so this is the Carly. This is beautiful silver bottom. This is a nicer kind of fabric because she's my best friend. And this is purple. It has a nice pocket in there, and then there's a D-ring in there. You can clip on your extra stitch markers, whatever you'd like, your keys, and it's a fun drawstring bag. So I'm going to announce the winner on my next episode of this. So you just have to be a subscriber, and on this YouTube video you need to leave a comment, and let's see, how about the question will be, what are you working on right now? So I'd love to hear about what you're working on, and maybe I want to work on it too. So maybe share which pattern it is because I am so willing to try new things right now. I love it. So I'm going to share now some of my finished objects. Since the last time I podcast, I have probably a gazillion, but I'm not going to share all of them. So these are the socks that I just started last Saturday night. So a week ago, Saturday. They're just Felici, they're Felici yarn which is striping sock yarn. So it's Felici sock yarn from Knitpicks. And the color, I think it's Space Cowboy or something like that. And so the pattern I did, I think it's Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. In my head, I don't really I didn't use really a pattern. It's probably the pattern that I've done before. It's just knits and purls. Really easy. On this one, I decided, I usually do a 25 cuff. I did only 15. And I was okay with that. So let me tell you what I did on this. This was size 1 needle. And yes, I do the magic loop as well, this one, but I'm switching over back to DPNs for now. So I just switched. Last year at this time, I was only doing the magic loop because I just learned it and I love the magic loop. I did it all summer. And then when I started doing socks again, just a few weeks ago, I picked up the DPNs and I wanted to just use the DPNs. I love the way they feel. So I change things up all the time. There's no one way, and I'm trying never to say never, because I have said never. I will never knit a sweater. And look, I'm knitting 2 right now and I'm starting on my 3rd. I will never make socks. There's no way. I have that much time on my hands. And now I'm realizing they really don't take that much time. You know, it's just a little bit of here and there. Time that I would be spend watching TV anyway. Okay, so this is what I did. Oh my goodness, did I drop a stitch? Oh no, I didn't. That was where I messed up and I accidentally purled instead of knit. Nobody will know. It's going to be on the bottom of my foot. Nobody will see that critical, what is it? Creativity feature that I added my own added touch. I'm just hoping it's not a dropped stitch. It's not, it's a purl. Okay. Cuff was 15, my legs 50, and then this was the very first time I tried the German short row. Can't see it very well on that one. German short row, I love it. I usually do heel flap gusset, which I don't like picking up the stitches. And so this one is German short row. I found a tutorial that I liked. And then for my foot, I have realized that 65 rows is perfect for my foot. And then I do my toe down to 10 on one needle and then 5 and 5. So 10 and 10. So 20 is mine. And I hear my kids. Last year at this time, in just January, I started, and I did post these on my Instagram. Okay, so excited. These are just so beautiful. I haven't worn them yet because I wanted to wait till I show them on a podcast. So these are my Valentine socks from last year. And the yarn is from the Cozy Knitter. And I believe she's out of Utah. She's out of Canada. And it's self-striping yarn. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the pattern that I used, I think it's from a homespun house. And it has to do with hair. I think it's a Weasley's family sock pattern. I will have it in my show notes or in the bottom part. This one is a long leg. It seems long, and then you put it on and everything is much shorter than it seems, just so you know. This one I used a size 1, and this was a 25 cuff and such. Okay, I am like almost done, you guys, because I didn't want this to go on forever. So this is a hat that I knit, I think in the fall. What month are we in now? I'm so confused. We're almost to spring. So it would have been late summer maybe. And I kind of just made up my own pattern, which it's just really, I think I did 2 rows of knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. I did 2 rows of that, then I switched it. And I did 2 rows of purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. And there's probably a name. It looks like the waffle pattern, but it's not. It's a little bit different. And I'll show it to you. You guys can see it. Isn't that really fun? And the yarn is Hedgehog Fibres, and it's the singles DK. And I got this when I was visiting my friend Carly in Michigan. I didn't know quite what to do with it, and I knit a hat, and so I have a couple more different colors to do. And I think it's super cute. I'll actually leave this on the rest. Well, I wanted to try my other one. Okay, hold on. This is one of my favorite hats. This is probably the most expensive hat I'll ever make, that I've ever made. So for this is called the Road Trippin' hat, the Road Trippin' pattern from Felici Yarn. And I did get the kit, but I used it with something else. So it's actually, I didn't use the pattern that came with the yarn. I used the pattern for this instead. So this yarn is Felici Yarns. I'm using her DK, and I think it is Cookie Gate, and I'm using the mohair. So it's like, and then I got this puff. So this is like a $70, $80 hat, which is very pricey. If you think about, I wouldn't go to the store and buy that, but as a knitter, and I'm a process knitter, just working with the mohair at the same, there is nothing like it. There's nothing like it in the world. Money cannot buy the feeling that you get when you're working with these materials in your hands. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on. It's so cute, you guys. And it's just so big and chunky, and it's not chunky though, it's a DK hat, but look at how cute. Is that my hair? No, that's not my hair. Look how cute this is. And you can make it slouchy. I actually have it rolled over, but if I wanted it to be more slouchy, I could. But I absolutely love it, love it, love it. So, and it's a paid for pattern. I think she has it on Ravelry now. She has a podcast that I was telling you about earlier. So you guys can find that. Let me show you my last work in progress, and then I'm gonna show you some things that I've bought. Okay, welcome back. This is my turtle dove sweater. Look at this. It's gonna be so big and beautiful, and it does fit. It's nice and big. By the time I finish my arms, which they shouldn't take too long. I did start on this arm here. I do have some holes, but I'm gonna figure it out because I like to learn things. And I mean, honestly, what I'm thinking is I'll just go back in with yarn after and kind of from the back kind of tie it to make it tight until I learn how to do it. So I'm a perfectionist, and I'm going to learn how to do this, and I'm going to learn how to make it so I don't have any holes, because that's not fun. But this yarn is by Woolfolk Yarn, and it's their Luft. And I was watching, I think Espace Tricot when they were talking about it, and of course the yarn was sold out everywhere, and everyone said, oh, it's sold out, you can't get it. I took that as a challenge. If you're like me, I felt challenged, and I thought, no, I'm going to find some of this yarn. And I found enough to do in the same lot to do this beautiful. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's called the Turtle Dove Sweater, and it's just beautiful. I actually found enough yarn. I have 2 other colors, so if I wanted to, I could, but what I'm going to do with the other colors I got is just find other patterns for the chunky, bulky yarn for sweaters, because I don't want 3 turtle doves right now, maybe later. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you what happened. So there are, on the free pattern, there are 2 different bottoms that you can have. You can have the rolled hem or the split hem. So I originally did the rolled hem, and I cast off. And it was kind of like a belly shirt. So I'm like, oh no, I don't like this. And when you've invested this much time and money financially to make a sweater is not cheap, I figured it out. So I, for the first time, did, I did the super stretchy bind off, I think. And I found just a different tutorial on how to do it. So what I ended up doing was just picking up, I don't know if you can see it, I picked up on my own on this part here, and I just added, and I decided to do this. So I added all this on my own. It doesn't look the same as the pattern, but it looks really good to me, and I love that feeling. And I know there's a lot of you that hack patterns, and this was not an intentional hack. This was an accidental hack, but I love that feeling of problem solving. Like, oh my goodness, I can do it. I can figure it out and, you know, throw it my way. So anyway, that's all I'm going to share with that. So I should have that finished soon, hopefully. Maybe my next podcast, hopefully. Okay. I'm just going to share the recent yarn that I got because I just got in some yesterday. So this is a new yarn, hand-dyed yarn company to me, Pineapple Yarn. And she has a cute little podcast. I got 4. I decided, since I'm in sock mode right now, I need some fun pink socks besides the pink socks I'm making. So these are all going to be socks, and I'm so excited to start building up my sock collection. I think I have 4 or 5 pair of my homemade socks that I've made since I started knitting. And I'm excited to have more and then start making them when my children have children. Maybe I'll make some for my boys. I'm trying to see if they're knit worthy, you know, because I made one of them a hat. I knit him a hat, and he left it outside or something, so I decided he's not knit worthy any longer. So, and he's an older child, so I can't say, oh, that's what kids do. He's a teenager, and I'm probably not going to knit him anything for a bit. Okay, then I follow Legacy Fibre Arts, Chelsea and her mom Sue, and I think Sue, or maybe on their Legacy Fibre Arts, they posted this color that they're not going to be, I don't even know, does she have the name of it on here? She doesn't, it just says SSSSBS. So this is a one-of-a-kind, and I love the colors. It's just so fun, and I love purples and pinks and grays and blues, and it's just such a fun cozy toes. This will be a sock or a shawl. This could be a one skein shawl. I mean, any of these can too. I might make this into a fun bright shawl. And then I decided I needed a more, this is just gonna knit up so pretty. This color is called Worn Leather, and it just spoke to me. It said, Robyn, you can't just go to someone's shop and buy one skein of yarn. You have to buy a set. So that's kind of my rule. I rarely buy, if I'm going into your online shop, I usually buy more than one because I didn't want it to get lonely, so it needed a friend. The last thing I'm going to say, I thought I would close out, and this segment will be my favorite podcast this week of other knitting podcasts that I'd like to share with you that I really enjoy, that I really like, that I watch all the time. So I'll just share a couple of them with you. I love Cozy Up Knits, and I have been watching them for over a year. So when I first started knitting a year ago in August, they were one of the first, they were just starting their podcast. A little bit before that, one of their sisters wasn't even really knitting yet. They're 4 sisters out of Canada. Cozy Up Knits. Love them. They're my favorite. I think they post their podcast once a week. It's great. They're just really fun to watch, and I love what they share. And I loved watching their sister, Chrissy, as she was learning how to knit, and just seeing the things she's making now. She's making sweaters, and it's just, that's how I kind of feel like my story is. I'm like, oh, I can do it. She did it, I can do it. And I really like them a lot. Another one I watch every week is Chelsea Pearls, and they're 2 friends out of New Jersey, and Christina owns Chelsea Yarns in Red Bank. You guys are going to think I'm a stalker. If they ever watch this, you're going to be, how did she know so much about where we live? Well, you say it in every episode. It's really fun. I mean, I had to kind of, it grows on you. The very first time I watched it, I wasn't really used to it. It's really fun. Her husband does the openings. It's hilarious. I love it. I love watching them. I love learning from them. And they're just fun. So it's Christina and Miriam, and it's a really fun story. So if you want to go back and kind of watch, they have, like, I think a lot of episodes, so you might not want to do that, but it's really fun going back and catching up. on podcasts. There's quite a bit that are in my queue. There's some that I watch every single time, and those are two for sure. I also love Happy Knits. I can't believe I almost forgot you, Yolanda. I love Yolanda and her son Jordan. They are one, I've been watching them for over a year since I think my boys and I actually found them. I was in the car, we were waiting for my husband or someone, and we were in the car and they popped up. And I think you're out of Texas, out of Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth maybe. And her son Jordan was cracking my boys up. They're not interested in the knitting part at all. And I just loved her. So I have been following her for over a year as well. You will love her. It's Happee, Happy Knits on YouTube. And so those are three that I'm really enjoying right now. And every time I will try to share more with you. Those are off the top of my head. And we all have different styles and tastes and interests, and sometimes you'll watch one and you'll think, I love them, and you'll share it with a friend and they'll think, oh, you know, I liked it, it wasn't my favorite. So we're all unique, we're all different, and so find someone that you like, that you can just knit to and you can watch and listen. Most of the time I just have them on while I'm knitting or I'm working. I mean, I listen to them while I work since I work from home. And I'll look up and, oh, you're showing this, and I'll put it on pause. It's just a fun community. So I'm happy to be back in the podcasting world after my break, and I'm hoping that this will be a regular show for you guys to watch. Please let me know what you think, and don't forget about my giveaway for this one. And I do have some giveaways for my next one as well that some nice makers sent me for my podcast a year ago, so I'm going to do that in my next episode. I just wanted to kind of start from scratch, start over. So thank you so much for stopping in. If you did like what you saw today, or you like me, just kidding. If you want to hang out with me again and knit, don't forget to hit subscribe, but also it's important to hit the little bell that's next to the subscribe. And I wasn't doing that at first when I was following people. Hit the little bell, because then every time I do a new video for you, you'll be notified. And it's so fun when one of those notifications comes up. I love it. I think, oh great, I'm so happy that I get to watch my favorite people, my favorite podcasters while I'm working today, or while I'm driving somewhere today. I get to listen to them. It's called a podcast. Podcast is really just a verbal, but in the knitting world, I think they call them podcasts because a lot of the time you're knitting and you're not looking at the screen. That's my take on it, but that's what they call them. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will check back in with you very soon. And I hope you have a fun time knitting. I'm editing that part out because I was totally dumb. Okay, bye.